I live in rural Pennsylvania, and growing up, it's a very red community. Almost everyone's Republican. But many of the Democrats that I did know were Democrats because they and their family had always been Democrats because they were union members. I started to envy a lot of people that I knew that were Democrats because the union jobs that many of them had were fantastic jobs and were well above the average pay scale in the communities that I lived. And I unfortunately have to tell union members out there right now in the country today in 2024, the Democratic Party is not the party that claimed to once represent your values. Sure, they still do things like talk to union leaders and seek your endorsement, but they don't care about policies that would actually benefit you. They think that if unions send them money and they kick some of that money back, that that's enough to get your vote. But the truth is, Democratic policies have been policies that have shipped working class blue collar jobs overseas for decades in this country, and now the situation is getting worse and worse. Donald Trump's someone who understands the importance of bringing business back to this country. This will affect all workers in this country in a positive way, up to and including and especially union members. It's why you see so many unions that are now, for the first time in quite some time, not officially endorsing Kamala Harris. In fact, some unions are outright claiming an endorsement for Donald Trump. But why? It's not because Trump's pandering to unions. It's because these people understand, be the union or not, that the world and the country will be better off, especially economically and with jobs, with a Donald Trump presidency. We have 4 years of Trump and we have 4 years of Harris, who basically has admitted she wouldn't have thought of anything she would have done different than Joe Biden. What world was better for most union members? Well, on average, it's just like which world was better for most Americans. The economy was better. The border was secure. We weren't involved in as many conflicts overseas. All of these things would be likely to return to where they were if we elect Donald Trump and Republicans again in 2024. What Democrats have for unions is policies that will continue to ship jobs overseas. It will be continuing to say that we are a consumer economy, but we're consuming goods and services that come from outside of the country. Blue-collar jobs will continue to decrease over and over. But Rob, look at how many jobs were created under the Harris-Biden administration. We can have all the pandering that we want and all of those massaging and manipulation of facts. Never mind the fact that those job numbers are almost always revised down, or we've just seen the worst job numbers in 4 years that came out on this month right before the election. But just ask yourself this, if you're a union member, are you feeling better off? Do your fellow union members feel better off? Of course not. On average, they don't. And that's why we see unions that are going at record pace for Donald Trump. It's not a done deal. Union members are just like all of us. They're going to have disparate beliefs and different priorities. But it's no longer verboten to say out loud the truth. The Republican Party, and specifically the Donald Trump ticket, isn't antithetical to unions. In fact, quite the opposite. They are the American Worker Party. Unions will thrive under Donald Trump because we'll see the economy thrive. We'll see inflation go down, and we'll see policies, including his tariff policies, that will encourage businesses to build factories right here in the United States. It's not going to be like with the Democrats where there's just a concern on creating government jobs so they could pad the job numbers only to have them retracted a few months later when the news isn't paying attention. Donald Trump's presidency was one where Americans thrived. It was one where the border was secure. It's one where the world was safer. These are the things that union members care about. His policies will specifically help jobs in this country, and that is including union members. He has sat down with union leaders and has the endorsement of more union leaders than most Republicans have had in generations. Donald Trump and the Republican Party isn't the party that you knew 30 years ago. Just like the Democrats aren't the party of union workers 30 years ago. They're the party of radical abortion policy. They're the party of transgender ideology. They're the party of concerned more about illegal immigrants than workers in this country. They're the party of lockdowns. They're the party, such as Kamala Harris, that wanted to force union members and great workers across this country to have to take medication against their will, or they would no longer be able to work at their jobs. They called you non-essential. That's who the Democrats are, and that's who Kamala Harris is. So reject that in the strongest possible terms in this election. Vote for the party that cares about you. Vote for the party that respects you, that wants to eliminate tax on overtime. Vote for the party that respects blue-collar workers, and that's Trump and the Republicans in 2024.